Yes.
Hi, this is on my phone.
Say again.
This is on my
Oh,
phone.
mine too. So there we go. We made it. Welcome.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is on my
Say again. Um,
phone. Okay.
can we lose the echo somehow?
Yeah.
Okay, honey. How you doing?
Good, good now.
Yes.
How you getting on?
Yes, fine. Now that we're finally here. Yeah, great. Okay. So my friends, this is Lou Martin. This is my spirit talk for today. Here's my beautiful and talented and very funny, yeah, soul sister, Sean Brown. Say hi to the folks.
Hi, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi, Lou.
Hi.
Great to see you.
Hi. So, apologies for all the confusion. I have no idea why it wouldn't get on with my iPad, but there we go, or laptop. But thank God we're here. So, how's it going? What's happening in your world today?
Good. It's Sunday, so I'm just taking a bit of having a lazy day. I've got some work and stuff to do later, but I'm just kind of relaxing at the moment.
Okay, okay. So, we had such a great,
Yeah.
yeah, there we go.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah, you're
I'm
back.
not going to touch anything now. Just going to leave it alone. So yeah, we had such great fun,
Okay.
and we said let's get on and share the joy with people. So we were talking about. I definitely want to get into your music, but I want to give you space to chat about anything that's on your mind, um, and just introduce you to my lovely audience. So yeah, the floor is yours. What do you want to chat about today?
Music, I guess, because that's my life. So I'll just chat about. I suppose I am a musician and a songwriter myself, and I'm also a music therapist. So music is kind of my sun, my moon, my earth, my stars. I'm either listening to it, writing it, singing along to it, or like I'm just music is my life.
Right.
So. Yeah, and I'm not the only one who uses music to self-soothe or to uplift themselves, and that's where music therapy is great. And I'm really, really lucky woman to have been given the opportunity to become a music therapist because it's absolutely changed my life, and my life just keeps on getting better and better and better. And it's because of music, and it's because of the love of music and never giving up on music and my music and my passion.
Brilliant.
So yeah, so I mean, my own music brings me a lot of comfort and a lot of joy, and also music therapy allows me to bring that to other people, especially people with special needs. In particular, children on the autistic spectrum
Yeah.
or children and adults with physical and mental disabilities. Music is an amazing thing to be able to do with anybody really, but especially with people with special needs, because it's a non-verbal form of communication.
Right, right. Well, I'd
Yeah.
love to hear how music therapy has changed your life and how you're working with music therapy with people with special needs. Do you want to?
Yeah, well, it was a 2-year course in the University of Limerick, and it's the only music therapy masters in Ireland. So I was really lucky to get into it. I went for the interview a few years ago and I didn't get in. And then I took a few years out and I spent about 6 months preparing for to do another interview, and I actually got into the course the second time round. It was a different course director, and she was just a lovely woman, and I got in on my work experience, my life experience. I didn't have like the I didn't have the traditional route in, which is the academic kind of. I had a lot of diplomas and in different things that like in childcare and music,
Yeah.
and also my life experience and my audition allowed me to get a place on the course. So that was incredible.
Right. Well, talk about your musical life experience, if you would.
Oh, well, my
You,
my dad and my older brother were guitarists, and my dad used to play a lot of blues guitar,
right.
and my older brother was obsessed with Jimi Hendrix. So he'd always be playing Jimi Hendrix riffs. He had wah wah pedals, and he had a flying V, and all the Jimi Hendrix kind of stuff. And when I was growing up, there were people playing guitars in my house. Um, and then my mum had this classical guitar, which I kind of picked up and was messing about with. I think I got taught a few chords. My mum taught me a few chords, but then I learnt most of it on my own from tab. Somebody taught me how to play or to read tab.
Right.
And then I was off. I was playing Nirvana and Smashing Pumpkins, and
Right.
during, during my teenage years, I was just playing a lot of the grungy kind of angsty stuff. And
Great.
from there, I started writing. I'd always written in diaries a lot, like since I was very young, 7, 8. I was always writing
Wow.
poetry and writing my life and everything in my
Right.
diary. So the two just kind of started coming together when I was about 14, 13 or
Right.
14, and I started writing songs. And my friend Etna, we used to go and hang out and write songs together, and that's how it happened. And I used songs as an outlet because there was a lot of stuff going on at home. It was a fairly broken, dark home. So I used songwriting to get out things that were frustrating me, or things that um, I was finding it hard to deal with or finding it hard to understand. Songwriting would help me understand it, or at least give me some kind of relief around it,
Right.
because I could, yeah, I had this song and it expressed how I felt, and it just felt like a relief.
Right.
It was a
When did
relief,
you
yeah.
start songwriting? How old were you when you started writing songs?
Well, I definitely know that my the first song that I wrote in my diary before I could play the guitar even
Right.
was around 7.
Wow.
So yeah, so I wrote this song, and me and my sister choreographed it, and it was just really cheesy, kind of overly romantic, you
Well,
know.
for 7, I'm sure
Uh,
we'll cut you some slack, you know?
yeah, yeah. But that was the first proper official song that I wrote, really.
Okay.
And then it was just a lot of poetry, and I used to write poetry in maths class because I hated maths. So I used to like write poetry
Right.
instead.
Right. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, keep going so we're like 7, your teenage years. What happens next for you musically as you become a young adult and all that?
I moved to Cork City when I finished. I grew up in the North Cork. It was a fairly remote place where I grew up, and I was dying to move to somewhere where things were actually happening.
Right.
So I moved to Cork City when I was 17, and there was a good few years really of being a bit of a mess. But I was constantly songwriting and bashing away on the guitar, and mostly learning songs that I loved. Learning a lot of Tracy Chapman songs, Smashing Pumpkins, Pixies, all that kind of stuff. I was born in 1980, so I was a teenager in the 90s. So when I moved to Cork, it would have been 1997, and I was just trailing off the whole grunge thing, and I really really loved Tracy Chapman as well,
Right.
because I kind of identified slightly with some of her lyrics and what she'd been through.
Sure. Sure. Uh, Was
Yeah,
YouTube was
so
YouTube passe at that point? They weren't your
YouTube was not even there. Like 1997, nobody had their own nobody walked around with their own laptops. Or in 1997, I got my first mobile phone, which was this huge big brick of a Motorola thing.
right.
And that was 1997. So that was when I moved out and moved to
Right.
Cork
Right.
City. So
Yeah, sorry. So I
it
said
wasn't
you too, the band, not YouTube. But
Oh,
Yes, it's a common mistake. Um, was there any U2 in your 90s in Cork?
um, for me, yeah, a little
All right.
bit. I used to, I lived in a lot of places, but I lived in this one house with a load of people, and one guy was constantly playing U2 actually there.
Okay.
So, I mean, it was there. I was more obsessed with Smashing Pumpkins and Nirvana
Okay.
and the grunge kind of thing. But yeah, U2 was definitely
Just
around. Yeah.
I'm being a 61-year-old, so just a little history lesson about your musical influences in Cork in the 90s, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, I mean, yeah. It was, I used to go to a lot of rock clubs. At the time, Henry's was still open, and I used to go to Gigantic on a Friday night, that played all rock and grunge. And I used to go to Freak Scene, and I used to drink in places like the Brogue and Fred's. And I was a rock chick. I was a real rock chick, and I used to wear the black makeup and the
Okay.
black clothes. And yeah,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
that was me.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so keep going. When do you start recording? When do you start touring? When do you start doing your own music out in the public?
Um, so I was when I did move to Cork, I was a bit of a mess from all the childhood crap. And I mean, I won't go into it too much, but I don't keep it a secret, the fact that my dad was a raving alcoholic, like he really was quite mad and always drunk.
Right.
So that affected me in a way that when I did get to Cork, and actually 2 months after I moved to Cork, he did drink himself to death.
Well,
So it was a very strange time, where it was basically just a lot of drink and a lot of music. It was basically just trying to get out of my head and listen to music as much as I could,
sure. Sounds like
which
sounds
was
like the life of a
hard.
musician, you know?
Well, it was hard as well because I didn't have any financial support. So I also had to hold down really crummy jobs, and I was constantly being fired or quitting and getting new jobs, and my life was just really unstable for a long time.
Sure.
So in that time, I wasn't doing much writing
Okay.
because I was too busy, you know,
Yeah.
having the
Yes,
crack,
dear. Being off your head.
getting out of my head as much as I could.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, so when that ended, so I suppose in my early 20s, I realized that I needed to stop myself. I realized that I had, by accident, fallen into an alcohol problem
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
So I had to give up alcohol completely, which was at around 22, I think 22.
Wow.
And I'd been drinking since I was about 12. And my all my teenage years, I was just very drunk, a lot
Right.
of the time.
Right.
So it seems like a different lifetime ago. But
Yeah, I'll bet.
so when I did stop, I had this kind of a nervous breakdown.
Okay.
Um, so I became very agoraphobic, and I couldn't leave the house, and I had a lot of anxiety, and I was having panic attacks all the time. And that's when I started really seriously writing again.
Okay.
Because I was on my own in my room all the time. So I just used to play my guitar, and I used to write
Okay.
songs or sing songs that I
Right.
liked. And that's how it all started back up
Very
again.
good.
Because I was in such a state emotionally, it was very soothing to be able to write my feelings, because if I was out in the world at that time, I couldn't hardly talk to anybody. Even my anxiety was so bad, and I was so weirded out by the world and being sober in it, that I couldn't really talk to people. I still can't. I'm still bad at talking
You're
to
fine,
people.
sweetheart.
But
You're fine.
well, you're fine. You're a good
Well,
friend.
thank you. You're
Um,
lovely to talk to.
yeah. So that's how. And then just through a friend, she said, "Oh, there's an open mic at Charlie's. You should come and you should come. So I
Right.
went, and the guy hosting it, Billy Kennedy, invited me to play one of my songs, come back the following week and play a song because I mentioned I was a songwriter. And that's how it started in open mics. I started singing my songs in open mics, which was very, very hard. The first time I did it, I stopped halfway through and I just said, I can't do
Because
this,
people were
sorry.
talking and
And
drinking and weren't paying attention.
no, Charlie's was amazing. Everybody was paying
Oh,
attention. Everybody was
okay.
quiet, but it was me. I just couldn't handle it. I was shaking like a leaf, and
Okay.
yeah, I couldn't. I was so nervous that I could hardly play
Bless
the
your heart.
guitar. I couldn't. My fingers wouldn't do the stuff that I wanted them to do because they were
That's because
shaking.
you care so much, my
But
friend, you see.
yeah,
Yes.
well, I mean, I was singing like back then as well. It was a lot of my songs which haven't been recorded were a lot of stuff about my childhood and my alcoholic father, and it was quite dark. And I suppose as well, singing that to a room full of people when you're already like high anxiety and trying to get
Sure.
yourself out of a nervous breakdown, and
Oh, yeah.
it was really, yeah, it was daunting. But I continued to go
Good.
back every week,
Good.
and I became a regular
Right.
in that. And then I just started doing other open mics, and that's how it kind of started.
Okay.
That was probably 24, 25,
Okay. Okay.
that kind of an
So
age.
when do you get to your first
Yeah.
CD and starting to record and things?
So after a couple of years of open mics, I got into the CSN because I have never had any formal music training
Right. That's not
in
Crosby,
any
Stills, and
way.
Nash, I guess.
How do you
The
mean?
CSN? I don't know what CSN is.
Oh, sorry. It's like CSN is Coláiste von Nefa. It's a PLC college in Cork, and it does a music
Okay.
course, a really good music course.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
and it's hard. It was hard to get into, and but I knew that I wasn't going to get into anything like UCC music or anything because I'd never had a guitar lesson, and I'd never had a singing lesson, and I couldn't read music. It was just my love of music,
Right.
and I just did everything.
Yeah.
I didn't know technically I didn't know what I was doing. I was just kind of doing it, and that's how I do music anyway.
Sure.
I just do it
Sure.
really.
Sure.
So I got into this course, and through that course, I was able to grow, and I wrote a ton of new songs, which all ended up on my first album. And through a contact in that course, I got to support Kathy Davey in the Serious Arts Centre. I don't know if you've heard of Kathy Davey.
No.
She is an Irish singer-songwriter, really good,
Okay.
beautiful voice, beautiful
Okay.
words, and she was playing in the Serious Arts Centre in
Yeah.
Cove, and I got a support slot, and the woman doing the sound in the Serious Arts Centre approached me. Her name was Louise McCormack, and she said, "I really like your songs. If you're ever thinking of recording them, give me a shout."
Right.
And so it was, I did a couple of days later, I rang her because I was also struggling a lot with, it's hard to explain. I was struggling a lot with men. I didn't really like being around men anymore. Because of my dad was my dad was violent and he was drunk all the time and he was an angry man.
Yeah.
And that caused me
Sure.
when I was drinking and a teenager, that caused me to be attracted to that crap.
Sure.
That
Sure.
madman
Yes.
type of
The
vibe.
naughty boys, we
Um,
used to call them. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So by that time in my life, after the nervous breakdown, I had had enough of men. I really tried to cut them out of my life as much as I possibly could, and I did for a long, long time.
Right.
So when Louise approached me, I was like, "Great, female producer, excellent. Let's
Yeah.
go. I can totally do
Yeah.
this." Um, and then that's how it happened. And I went down to her studio in Cove,
Okay.
and her husband John Crone, who's a lovely guy as
Mm.
well, and they're both really, really lovely
Mm.
people. And we recorded my first album there with Louise and John.
Brilliant. And
Yeah,
what's that called? Your first album?
Blue Ruin.
Okay. Okay. Very good. All
Yeah,
right. So,
yeah.
brilliant. So, what's the next big milestone in terms of your musical history? And then, we'll get to, I mean, I know you've got you and Jimmy, your husband, who's a lovely guy, and the three of us did some recording, and we're all, hanging out from time to time. He says, by the way, you still wear black. That was Jimmy's comment earlier. Uh,
Oh, he's always like he's all I say I come home saying, "Oh, I got a nice top." He's like, "It's black, isn't
right,
it?"
right, right.
I just yeah, he's always saying it. I really like wearing black. I
Clearly,
just yeah.
yeah. Okay. I have seen you in other colors though, so I do know you do.
Yeah, I'm branching out.
Okay.
I'm
All
I'm
right.
branching out to mossy greens,
Right.
burgundies,
Right.
and teals.
Okay. Very good. You bought a frock
Nothing
when
too bright.
you bought a frock when you were out here. I think was bright colored, so we know there's hope. Yeah.
There's hope,
Yeah.
yeah. But I bought that. I was like, oh, this will be great for music therapy work.
Well, all right. So, yeah, however you want to segue into music therapy, I think that would be a great thing to talk about. But I want to give you more space to talk about, your current recording projects, Lamb Dancer, and other things as well.
Oh, okay. So what'll I start
Well,
with?
why don't we keep going and then we'll get back to music therapy, but to keep going with your recording history and your
Okay.
focus, like what's on the agenda and what you and Jimmy have worked on and this kind of thing.
Okay. Well, so I released my first album and then I did a lot of touring on my own. I just got myself on buses and went all over the country on my own and just did all these open mic nights everywhere. And
Right?
then
How was that? How was
I
that?
that was it was good. It was scary,
Right?
um, but I did it anyway. And I remember sitting on the bus so many times on my own, not knowing where the hell I was going, and going to people I've never met before, and thinking, well, at least I'm doing something,
Right.
at least yeah. So I mean, it was good. People were lovely, and it was good experience.
You made new connections, new
I
friends.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And years go by. I was working in an after school kind of what do you call it? Like an after school club. I was working with
Right.
children. I wrote then I wrote the second album. I recorded the second album. I released that. And years just go by and you do gigs and you keep going. Um, I then met Jimmy
Right.
at a festival.
Right.
And
A hell of a
from
guy.
the second I met Jimmy,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, from the second you meet him, you're just like, oh, this is the nicest guy I've ever met in my whole life. Um,
Yeah.
and there was an instant, I can't explain it. There was just an instant kind of, it was like we always knew each other. We just got on really well. We had a really good laugh. We were into the same things and we started working together. But very, very soon after we started working together, we got together
Right.
anyway. So
Romance.
that was that. But
True love.
yeah,
Yay.
and yeah, and I'd been wanting to move into a more electronic kind of a direction for years anyway. And I had been trying, but nobody was really taking me up on the offer. It's very, the music scene is kind of odd and you've got all these pockets of different genres and all these different scenes and
So,
yeah, I think people always kind of think I'm a bit weird as well,
well,
and I
you're
can't I
unique,
just
my friend.
nothing.
You're different, you know. I love that about you.
I'm certainly
Yeah.
different and there's nothing I can do about
Yeah.
that,
I'm in the
but
same club.
it does have
I'm in
a
the same club. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that's probably why we got on so well.
Absolutely.
um yeah, so there's nothing I can do about that. I can't force people to work with me or anything. And yeah, so it just nothing that I really wanted to do was happening. And then I met Jimmy, and he was doing all the stuff that I wanted to get into. So we did an album together straight away, and that was the Land Dancer album, and that was amazing because for years I'd been wanting to go really crazy, and I just felt like the singer-songwriter
Really
stuff was
crazy. Not halfway
lovely.
crazy. Go all the way.
Yeah, I was keeping a lot in.
Yeah. Okay. So you're
And
you're you're not being shy about it any longer. You're really going for it.
yeah, yeah. And I just felt for a long time I felt that the singer-songwriter thing was lovely and I love it and I'll always do
Yeah.
it. But I was kind of restricted by holding a guitar. I wanted to move. I'm a dancer and I really wanted to go crazy with my movement and everything. So Land Dancer allowed me to do that and it allowed me to dress up in my elaborate costumes and my wigs and be really creative in a different
Right.
way. I mean, there's something really creative about stage makeup and costume and a lot of thought goes into it and performance. And that was a whole different thing that I was lacking for years. I knew I wanted to do it,
Mm.
but nobody was nobody was recognizing my vision.
Right, right. You had to do that on your own, I guess, right?
So, well, yeah, then I found Jimmy,
Right. Very good.
and Jimmy was like, yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Jimmy's very open-minded, and up for anything. Yeah,
Right.
he is. Yeah. So, and that was the lamb dancer thing, and it was great because then I could write about all the stuff that I was thinking, to do with consciousness and the planet and how it's going and energy and the mad stuff that you'd be thinking about that you can't really necessarily throw into day-to-day conversation
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah. No, I liked your songs on
Yeah.
that album very much. I thought they were very good.
Yeah, and I was going through a time where I was obsessively watching all these UFO stuff on YouTube. YouTube is just, yeah, hours and hours of watching like um all the people, David
Right.
Icke, David Wilcock, all that stuff, which is like so
Yeah.
alternative to the main,
Yeah.
what people believe
Yeah.
usually, that it fascinated me,
Sure.
I guess.
Sure. I've spent many hours, as you know, doing the same thing. Yeah. It's fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I was like, this is way more interesting, this theory.
Right. Right. Right.
So,
Right.
see, I wasn't,
Go
yeah,
on. Go
yeah.
ahead.
I wasn't raised in any religion. We didn't have any religion growing up. I wasn't raised as a Catholic or a Protestant or anything. So I'm open to everything,
Yeah, that's
I'm
pretty
a very open
extraordinary,
speaker.
as we've talked about. That's pretty unusual in the world, honestly.
Yeah, I'm really happy about it. At the time, it was hard because I just was like on the outside. I'm always on the outside.
Right.
But now I'm really, really happy because now I'm open to any idea, like any,
Yeah.
I'm very open-minded about any type of theory to do with the universe or why we're here or,
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah. Oh, it's fantastic. So talk about working with the kids and people with special needs and music therapy and a little bit of that. So if people want to find you or book you for their school or things like this, how can we let's move in that direction, okay?
Okay, well, when I qualified, myself and a girl in my class, Laura Cahill, she's so lovely. We've been working together. We find that we work really well together, and we have we call it Music Therapy Works. It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
So Music Therapy Works on Facebook,
Okay.
and we've been trying to get groups together. So we're doing some groups with children with special needs, but we're also doing groups for you, for me, for adults who just want to come and experience improvisation for music therapy. So like you come into a room full of musical instruments, and we'll all just go at it for an hour and see what happens. It's very experimental and in the moment, and very I find it very satisfying. It's fun. It's really good fun.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
We're doing some of those groups. We're starting those groups Thursdays in Cork City
Okay.
in February if anybody's interested.
Okay.
But yeah, just go to my our music therapy page, which is Music Therapy Works.
Okay, great. And if people want to check out your music, how would they do that?
Okay, I'm on Spotify if you want to stream it,
Okay.
and I'm on I you can buy the albums on CD Baby
Okay.
and iTunes as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah, so I'm out there.
Okay.
You can find. I can send you links and you
Yeah.
can attach it at
Yeah.
the
Brilliant. Let's do
video.
that. Great.
Yeah,
Super groovy.
yeah.
Well, I'm just so grateful to know you. You're such a bright light, my friend. Yeah.
Oh, you too. I love hanging out with you, Lou. You're so much fun. I literally laugh from the second I meet you to the second I leave. I'm laughing, and
Likewise.
that is,
Likewise. Well, see
yeah.
you laugh at all my bad jokes, so it encourages me. What can I tell you?
You laugh at all my
Oh
bad
well.
jokes.
Okay. There we go.
Usually people just stare at me
Right.
with
Right.
this
Right.
like,
So we
what's the
we
deal with
get together and we make bad jokes together. It's wonderful.
you? Yeah,
Brilliant,
yeah.
brilliant. Well, Sean, you're an angel. Did you want to lay a little song on us today, or are you feeling ambitious?
I could. I was going to try and do this on the laptop, but I'm holding the phone now. But I could try and set up the phone and
Or just pick up a guitar and
play a song.
give us something that you like to play, whatever's easy.
Well, I'll give it a go, will I?
Yeah, why not? I think that'd
Hang
be
on,
a
I'm gonna.
perfect ending. And while you do
Okay.
that, I'm going to beat the drum for Artist Way one more time since we're finally
Oh
yeah,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
I will. So while Sean gets set up, I'm just going to remind folks that today is Creativity Day. It's official, and we're going to do some music here to finish up. The Artist Way is a book that I've studied and taught half dozen times, and I'm offering it again today, 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And Sean might join us in the evening. We'll see how it goes. And it's
I'll
yeah,
try. Yeah.
thank you. And it's just a great resource in terms of unleashing the inner child and connecting our spirituality and our creativity together. So if you have any interest in that or any questions about that, just shoot me a text and I'll fill you in. And with that, my friends, the great Sean Brown. Yeah. What are you going to play for
You
us? Sorry,
could.
what are you going to play?
Oh, I'm gonna play a song called "You Could Have Been Nicer."
Okay. Thanks,
Okay.
honey.
You could have been nicer to me, and then I wouldn't have had to go this far. You could have been nicer to me. All I needed was a mindful heart. Look what I've done. And all because you left me with no choice. Look what I've done. And all because you left me with no voice to tell myself. Could have been nicer to me. I know I've broken my share of rules. You could have been nicer to me. I was just a young, dumb, troubled fool. We could have been enjoying each other's company. I'd be teaching young children and giving you the time to find a job you like. You could have been nicer to me, nicer to me. You could have been nicer to me, nicer to me. I look out over the ocean, the wind blows hair across my face. Dry grass rustles in a salty breeze, busy foam and choppy waves. And I know it's too late for us now. I know it's too late for us now. You could have been nicer to me, and then I wouldn't have had to go this far. You could have been nicer to me. All I needed was a mindful heart. You could have been nicer to me, nicer to me. You could have been nicer to me, nicer. There you go.
Beautiful,
I was a bit
beautiful,
nervous there.
wonderful, wonderful job. Well,
Thank you.
that was dreamy. I'm so glad we did this, hon. Well done. Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
thank you. Thank.
We should do a podcast together, me and you.
We'll definitely keep. This is getting us in that direction. You know, moving us in that
Yeah,
direction.
because you didn't do any talking.
Well, you have a lot to say, my friend. So I want to give you space. I'm talking every day, so this is great for me to just get to listen to you and have you share your amazing story. You're an inspiration to me and to a lot of other people, And I'm so grateful that you're in my life and that we're good friends. And I know we'll do this again very soon. Okay?
Oh, Lou, you are definitely an inspiration to me as well, and you're a very good friend, and you're totally like right here in my heart. I just love the bones of you. So thanks for
Oh
everything.
my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Well, my best to brother Jimmy, and we'll put the links down here, and maybe we'll see you tonight for Artist Way at 7 o'clock if we're lucky. Yeah?
Yeah,
All right.
hopefully, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. Have a wonderful day. All my love. Talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Sláinte. Bye.
Bye.